industry? Join us for this week's episode of Social Chatter, the industry's longest running social media marketing news talk show. Not only will you learn the latest breaking news, but you'll also gain practical advice on how to apply it. Now here's your host, Christian Karasevich.
Hey, everyone. Good morning. Happy 2020. It's Phil Gerbishek, not Christian Karasevich, and I am live today, hoping that at some point Troy Sandage joins me. If you don't know Troy, he's at Find Troy everywhere on social media. And again, I'm Phil Gerbishek. I'm super stoked to be here with you. This week on Social Chatter, we're going to talk about some Instagram stuff. We're going to talk about some cool tools and the Navy banning a tool that everybody likes to use. So without further ado, let's get to topic number one. All right. So topic number one, Instagram is letting IGTV creators send notifications to fans. Okay. So what the heck does this mean for you? Let me bring up the story here so you can see this with me. So what does it mean that they're doing this? So hang on right here. Let's pull that up and share some screenage here with you. Get that shot here. Pow. So the platform's adding features to make sharing and creating easier. So here's the interesting thing, right? So now you can blast your fans, right, with notifications. You can organize videos on a series page, have a series title appear on each video, and now you can binge, which makes this a lot more like Netflix, right? That's important. So if you think about this as you are a fantastic user of a Netflix type show, right? Now you can binge. So if you're a creator, you can do some cool stuff. Now you can set up a series and people can binge them. Now you can send out a notification that says, boop, hey, we have a new story on the network, right? So now I've got something new that I want to talk about. So that makes it super duper easy for us. If we think about that, right? This is just really, really strong stuff. We really get the opportunity now to do some things that actually notify people. Now we'll see if people take advantage of this. We'll see what the heck happens here, because this could be really great, or this could be a real big nothing burger. We'll see. So if this is really great, right, it's going to say, hey, look at this. I'm live on IGTV. And if you create content often enough, that's good enough, people will turn notifications on, because again, this will be user controlled. This isn't just going to be, hey, look at this and look at all the stuff that we did. No. This is going to be, hey, look at all the stuff we did. And you got notifications turned on. So this makes it really, really slick if you create great content, because otherwise people turn them off and they're never going to hear from you. So how do you use this? How do we get practical? How do we get tactical? How do we really think about this? Well, first, this is where you got to be strategic. What am I trying to do with my series? Perhaps I think ahead and I create 10 or 12 videos that are in a series that all lead people to something more interesting, and that eventually they need to contact you in order to get the full payload. Now, that's not to say you don't add value before you add volume. Every video should have some value, because otherwise they're going to tune out. Now, the challenge with this is every video has to have its own value. Every video has to stand alone, because not everybody's going to stand up and say, yes, I'm going to take all 12 of these videos. Most people, if they're like me, are going to say, I'm going to test one of these. If there's value here, I might subscribe or I might binge. But if there's no value here, you're done. Now, IGTV remembers up to a 10-minute video. Up to a 10-minute video is pretty cool, because that is good opportunity. Now, this morning I'm drinking coffee out of my Baconator mug, right? The Bacon Podcast of Brian Basilico. Good stuff. But here's the thing. If you don't add value, people are just going to tune out. So plan out your content, right? Think strategically. And then also, what is your call to action? What's the call to action for this? Now, I would say you probably want to also repurpose these videos on YouTube or on Vimeo, or maybe even behind a free paywall where you get people to sign up for them so you can get their email address. Because if you add enough value, right, that might happen. Now, I will say that I expect that most businesses are not going to take advantage of this. They're not going to create series of stuff, and they're going to blast notifications. They're going to be like,
hey, is this thing on? I'm going to wait for people to show up. And yeah. So in the meantime, if you can just talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, please don't do that. Okay, please don't do that. Instead, I want to encourage you to really think about how can you add value so that people say, wow, that's so much value. I want to get more of that. Good question, eh? So let's see how that works for you. All right, let's talk about the next tool. Let's stick on Instagram. And this is really some interesting stuff, right? Instagram layout stories features multiple photos. And we talked a little bit about this a little while ago, a couple of weeks ago on this, but I think this is an opportunity for you. If you're thinking about making things even more interesting on Instagram, and I think for many of us now, Instagram now allows a layout feature. Now, this is some built-in stuff, but this is in the stories feature. What I expect is people are going to download this and they'll probably use them on Facebook stories as well. It's really interesting. So once Instagram puts this inside their third-party apps, people aren't going to need a separate third-party solution unless, and here's where we always say, these tools, you don't want to look like everybody else. So if Instagram has 13 different layouts in their stories, in their layout feature, well, how do you look different? Well, you look different because you just don't use the default tools. Okay, that's how you do this. So this is interesting, right? This helps you create some interesting stuff here that have opportunities to do this. This create mode, right? It's making content beyond just photos. Templates with conversation prompts and throwbacks, stuff like that. So this is just one more thing that Instagram is doing basically to render these apps nearly useless. But I would say you still have opportunity here to look different than everybody else, because as they put these in apps, you're going to see more and more that people are only going to use the default stuff. People are only going to use the default stuff. They're not going to be strong, and they're not going to come at you with some new stuff, which is fine. That happens. No big deal. But you want to stand out, use some of the tools we talk about in Tool Time. And we'll talk about some tools later in the show that are on Tool Time. Now, with that, if you want to get the latest tools, the latest news, and all the stuff from us here on Social Chatter and beyond, I want you to sign up at socialchefs.com/daily. You get an email, you can respond, you can read at your own pace. And we're going to be breaking some stuff for you there that we do beyond the show, beyond the show. So hopefully you'll be able to join, you'll be able to see that, and you'll be able to learn even more. Okay. Now, if you want, right, we also encourage you, if you're an Alexa podcast person, right, or a podcast person, you like voice only, then we invite you to check out socialchefs.com/Alexa and socialchefs.com/SC podcast to check that out. That can help you. Okay. So let's talk about something else that Facebook did. Now, we are big Facebook folks here because we know that that's where a lot of people are. Now, not every audience is on Facebook, but our goal is to break the news so that you can learn from it. So this time, what is some of the things that Facebook did? They bought a startup that allows live video shopping in Marketplace so that it's like the home shopping network. I think this is really interesting here. They bought a company called Packaged. Packaged is a startup focused on video shopping, right? They're going to build shopping capabilities to let users in the marketplace make purchases directly from live video. If you see here, confirmed to Bloomberg that the company is exploring ways to let buyers easily ask questions and place orders within a live social broadcast. So I'm curious how exactly they're going to fold this in, right? We don't see that there's any screenshots here on this, but we do see it's very newsworthy, right? So HSN, QVC, soon to eat your heart out. I would wonder, though, how is this going to work for more traditional businesses? Are you going to buy services this way? I don't know, maybe, right? Maybe you decide you want to sign up, you want to raise your hand, and you want people to sign up right now. So how would you use this, folks? How would you use a tool like this that you could actually see to do live shopping? If you're watching live, leave a comment. I'll bring that on the screen here so we have that. But how would you use this? Are you thinking HSN, QVC style, where you're selling only products, right? You're going to sell coffee cups? Right? So if this was live video, right, we could certainly use this new tool to sell this coffee cup. Now, how do we sell more B2B type stuff? Do I think people are going to buy software this way? Not expensive software, but we could see more product placement for influencers. We could see that they're talking about the software. Like we could say StreamYard and bloop, here's the link to buy StreamYard for you. Something like that. So curious though, any thoughts on how you might use that? Any thoughts on if you might use that? If you have any thoughts, drop a comment. Let me know what you think, and I'll pop it on screen with you. Okay? All right. So that's the third bit of news, which I find pretty interesting this week. And then we've got one more news story here before we go and we move to tool time. And that next news story is really interesting. The Navy is banning TikTok from government-issued mobile devices. Now, this is really interesting because they're calling it a cybersecurity threat, which is interesting. I'm curious how this works, right? So first, it's issuing only government issued, which means any BYOD, bring your own device type people, they're not impacted by this. But the fact that we see that the Navy is blocking this tells me, first of all, that the military sees this as a challenge, right? My guess is there is something with this that is either wasting time, presents a security threat, or perhaps gives out location information. Now, here's the challenging part about the military is when they do special ops, and you don't have to be in special ops to do special ops. I was in the Navy. We did special ops. I was a cryptologic technician. Our special ops just meant we're not sure where we're going to be. And we certainly don't want to tell you where we are. So if we give out the location of that, well, that's a problem, right? Because that could put us in imminent danger. I think it's interesting they called it a cybersecurity threat because I think this is an actual security threat. But we'll see what this means, right? So what does this mean for you? Well, I don't know, right? I don't know how this is going to impact your business. I don't know how TikTok is going to be a concern for you, but I do think it's interesting that the Navy says, no, you can't use TikTok. So pay attention to why the Navy says this, not that the Navy said this. So still reserve judgment. If you haven't used TikTok yet, this might be one reason that you might pause for a week or a month and see what the Navy says, but pay attention. We'll report back on what this means, right, in the future. Now, along with this, again, pay special attention that it says government-issued mobile phones. My guess is that's probably 1 in 10, 1 in 20 devices. And, a lot of these phones probably already didn't have cameras or they had the camera disabled. That may be why. It might be that they're expecting that the camera could get compromised. How does it impact your business? It's doubtful that it does. So don't stress too much, but just be aware. Navy did this. The Navy banned TikTok. So super interesting stuff. So that's our 4 news stories today, right? We talked about some Instagram stuff. We talked about some Facebook stuff. And we talked about TikTok. So what else do we have today? What else are we talking about today? Well, let's see. So in just a second here, we're going to bring up my favorite point of the show, and that is tool time. So what the hell is tool time? Tool time is 2 tools that you can use to make your business better. Now, behind the scenes, I'm dancing like a fool because I'm excited because I love tool time. Tool time is one of my favorite parts of the show because now I get to talk about 2 tools that can help you with your business. All right, so here we go. First tool is Squawk. Squawk lets you turn your tweets into videos. This is fascinating stuff. Now, if you're thinking, well, what the heck? Why would I use something that actually turns my tweets into videos? Well, it's more interesting, right? It's just frankly more interesting. So if we see influencer Gary Vaynerchuk, he's got this with video, which now puts it on Instagram. And because a lot of the platforms prioritize video, well, this is interesting, right? You could put it on LinkedIn. You can put it on Instagram. You can put this on Facebook. Taking video or tweets and turning them into videos, if you have something interesting to say, is pretty good. It's one more reason why you need thoughtful content in order to have this. So if you have smart stuff that you say, well, now this turns into a video, which makes it a little bit more interesting. So we look at this, right? Screenshots are dead, it's saying, for your Twitter followers, right? How do you do this? Squawk works. I don't see any pricing, though. I don't see any pricing. So if we click on Start Now, let's see what they're talking about here. Tweet to video premium. Let's see. Do they have anything on here? $1, no watermark. That's interesting. $1, no watermark. Tweet to video. How fast the tweet typed out, light mode or dark mode, how fast, how slow. What's the tweet URL? So it'll actually type it for you. I think that's super, super interesting. $1 it is for one tweet. So you could play with this. You could see if this is actually valuable for you. And then we should see here, they have monthly plans as well. $9 a month for unlimited, 1 month at a time. Okay, cool. Cool. I could see how this might be useful for you. I could see it $9 a month. It might be worth trying. So give it a shot. Check it out. That's tool number 1. Okay. Tool number 2 is a tool called Yay Text. Super cool Unicode text magic for strike-through, bold, italics, and crazy-looking weird fonts on Facebook, Twitter, and everywhere. So let's see what the heck this tool does for us. So now we look here. So short strike-through, long strike-through, short dashes. This is probably how many of your friends are annoying you with the different text stuff. Now, it's so fascinating to me that this is now a thing, because I know that one of the things that I liked most is that the font wasn't all goofy when we had all these platforms, right? They picked the text for me, but that also meant it doesn't stand out just based on the font. And if your goal is to stop the scroll, which it often is, right? If your goal is to stop the scroll, well, then you need to use different fonts. So give this a try, see what you think, see if that's useful. Again, that's Yay Text. So all the links are going to be found in all of our in the recap. Okay, so here's Yay Text. That's the one we talked about here. We've also got Squawk. Check that out as well. Turning tweets into videos. Really, really cool stuff. Okay, so hopefully this is stuff that you can use. Hopefully this is stuff you can use for your business. The goal is to stand out, to stop the scroll, and to be strategic. Are all these tools, are all these things perfect for you? Absolutely not. But something is. So give that a try, right? And if you want to make sure that you don't miss it, make sure you don't miss a beat here. socialchefs.com/daily has great stuff that's put out. Great stuff that's put out. So hopefully those 4 news items and 2 tools are super helpful for you. Check those out. And next week, what are we going to do? Well, next week I'm off, because I'm not off. I'm actually going to be traveling for work. I'm on the road training sales professionals for Vector Solutions, which I'm super excited for. Great team of folks. I'll be in San Diego, Rancho Bernardo, maybe running into some of our past guests, Jen Herman or Stephanie Liu, or someone that has been on Social Chatter before, and I'll bump into them. But next week, Christian is going to be with Jim Fuse. Now, Jim is half the Jim and Tim show. Fantastic guy, runs Fuse Marketing, F-U-H-S, Fuse Marketing. You can check it out on Facebook or YouTube at facebook.com/socialchefs or youtube.com/socialchefs. So I hope that you have a great week ahead. I hope you do lots of amazing stuff, and I hope that you find a way to grow your business using social. Have a great week, folks. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Social Chatter. I'm Phil Gerbishak. Have a great week.